Oh, hi, welcome once again to our series on trauma. This is your coach and therapist, Ruth Waithira of the Soul Clinic. The Soul Clinic is where we fix your pain, we help you feel good so that you can live a whole life. I'm very excited to have to do this series because one of my greatest goals in life is to help people overcome the challenges and the blocks that they experience towards living an authentic and purposeful life. Because I want everybody to be living in purpose. I want everybody to be able to experience the joy and the fulfillment that comes in living your life purposefully. So when I'm doing this series, I want to shed light to you and to what could be creating the internal blocks that maybe you're experiencing, or what things could be standing in the way of you living an authentic life. So we've been doing a series on trauma, and in the first episode, we looked at what is trauma. In the second episode, we looked at how unprocessed trauma forms your core beliefs and your identity. In the third episode, we looked at what we call adverse childhood experiences and how they influence how you show up in life today. And if you haven't watched those first 3 episodes, I encourage you to look up for their links in the comment section so that you're able to watch them and catch up with us so that we're able to proceed together. And now that we have talked a lot about trauma, and maybe you have heard and you've heard yourself here and there are experiences that relate to your life. There are things that I have mentioned that you felt like I was talking to you, because this happens a lot. I can teach on something and then somebody says, Ruth, that sounded like you were talking to me. So maybe you've gone through the first 3 episodes and you feel like there's something I said, or there's an issue that I talked about that resonates very well with you. Then you're wondering, okay, so what? There was a traumatic experience that I went through, or my childhood experiences may have shaped me in this and that way. They influence how I show up today. Maybe they're even standing in the way of the life that you want to have, in the beautiful life that you want to create, you want to live in purpose. But then you realize that there are these experiences that are standing in the way. So what do I do to heal? So in this episode, I want to look at what does it take to heal? What is the antidote for trauma, in short? Because you've been through an experience. You can't go backwards. You can't rewind what happened. You have these unprocessed and undigested life experiences. You have these experiences that were so traumatic that your system shut down. Maybe you went into what we call a freeze response, where you shut down and the process did not complete its loop. Then, am I doomed for life? What do I do? How do I make sure that I'm able to move forward? And I want to say that it takes feeling safe for you to be able to process traumatic events. As long as you're feeling unsafe, you can't process. Because the reason as to why those experiences are unprocessed in the first place is because they were overwhelming. It's because it didn't feel safe to do so. It felt like if you tried to process them, you would cross to the other side of the line and you'd fall off the cliff, and there's no way to come back, there's no point of return. So how do I deal with it? And I want you to know that for you to be able to deal with trauma and traumatic experiences, you need to have safety resources, because safety is healing. It takes you to feel safe for you to be able to heal. Safety is what is central to healing. So you need to create a resource of safety and not a resource of fear, because fear is what got you in here. Fear is what got you stuck. Fear is what made those processes not to complete their loop. So you can't be able to process them. You can't be able to help them finish the loop as long as you're living in fear. So you need to create a resource of safety. And these resources of safety is both internal and external safety. External safety may include people. Like you may need to have around yourself, you may need to create around yourself a human resource of individuals who are able to hold space for you when it comes to processing the physical and emotional experiences that come with trauma healing. People who are not going to get triggered, people who have dealt with their own trauma, people who have taken themselves through the trauma healing experiences, people who understand the processes that you need to go through for you to be able to process your trauma. Because there are traumatic experiences that you can't process with everyone. Because some people get triggered Some people, instead of being able to hold space for you, they may try to invalidate you. They may try to push the process forward. They are tired or they don't know how to deal with it, so they want to push you fast. Ikimbie haraka iishe. So you need to have people who are able to hold space for you, to be able to be in the moment and in the experience for as long as is required. Because sometimes traumatic experiences manifest in the body, and you will be having these bodily sensations that are happening for you that need to complete the loop, so that the energy, the negative energy that had blocked in your system is able to come through and to leave the system. So if you don't have people who understand that process and are able to hold space for you, then trying to process trauma with a resource that is not safe is likely going to make it worse. So you need to be able to establish resources, human resources of people that are safe, and they are able to create a safe space, and they are able to hold space for you so that you process your trauma and process it effectively. The other safety resource that you need is an internal safe space, because it's not every time that you will have people surrounding you. So you will need to fortify the resources you have within yourself, because believe you me, you've got everything that you need to heal. Healing processes are self-guided. Your subconscious mind, your inner guides know how you need to process this thing. They know what you need to start with. You may actually go into a therapy room thinking that you need to start processing ABCD, but then your subconscious directs you or takes you to a whole different direction and says, you know what, this is where you need to start. So you need to be able to go within yourself and mine out those resources for you and fortify them, strengthen them, bring them to awareness, bring them to consciousness, get leaning inwards, keep tapping into them, strengthen them, so that you are able to process your traumas, especially the day-to-day triggers and the day-to-day traumas that keep happening in your space. You don't have to always run to other people for them to support you. So you need to learn how to create that safe space for yourself. So you need to understand, what resources within me do I have that can help me process this? You need, for you to be able to heal properly, there's also a lot of challenging of belief patterns and thoughts that you need to have. So it's almost like going to have you do an overhaul of your belief patterns, an overhaul of your thought patterns, so that you are able to tap into the resources that are supporting. Because if you have been through traumatic experiences and you haven't processed them well, in there are belief patterns and thought patterns that are unsupportive. They sabotage you. They sabotage these processes. So you may need to start, first of all, addressing those. Address the systems that are imprinted within you that are sabotaging. And in their place, create new narratives. Rewire yourself. Rewire those belief patterns. Rewire them. Ensure that whatever is running there is supportive. Because you are the only one who knows the deepest desires of your heart. You are the only one who fully understands who you want to be at the core. You are the only one who knows the version of you that you want for it to propel you to the future that you want to create for yourself. You are the one who knows where your purpose is taking you. You are the one who knows what your dream future looks like. So you need to go within yourself and mine out for those resources and fortify them. And pick the ones, amplify, strengthen the ones that support the version of you that you want to become. Whatever requires rewiring needs to be rewired. Whatever requires an overhaul needs to get an overhaul. And this is where many of us get stuck, because we are so used to operating in one way that anything that pushes us out of our comfort zone becomes a no-no. You can't be the same version when you're unhealed and you expect the same version to support the healed version of you. No. If you want to operate at a higher level, if you want to operate at the healed version of you, if you want to operate at a space where fear is not hindering you, you want to operate at a space where you are not having unprocessed trauma standing in the way, then you need to fortify the belief patterns, the thought patterns, those parts of you that support that version of yourself. So for you to be able to heal, you need to be able to create those safe resources for yourself. So look for safe resources within the community and the society. This could be in terms of coaches and therapists and other people in the mental health profession, or friends who are healthy and they are stable, friends who have a higher level of emotional intelligence, people who understand and they are in touch with themselves. Not people who are hiding behind the curtains and they have issues and they are refusing to process. No, those ones will not help. Those are the people that will want to keep you at the same lower level that under which you are operating. So look for people who are operating at a higher space than yourself, people who have done this work, people who understand what trauma healing is all about. Then those ones can be your safe resources. And as you do this, remember that the goal end is to be able to support yourself, because you will be with yourself throughout. You are with yourself 24 hours a day. There's no escaping it. And the more you try to escape from these realities, the more you're going to have parts of you that are orphaned, you are dissociating. You can't be fully integrated if you're not embracing your whole experiences as they are. So you also need to start allowing yourself to get comfortable in uncomfortable situations, to get comfortable in situations that are pushing you to grow, to get comfortable in spaces that are challenging your core beliefs and your thought patterns. So that once you have been able to challenge yourself that way and you have created a safe resource for yourself and within yourself, you are able to support yourself through trauma healing and to be able even to deal with the daily traumatic experiences that keep happening. So remember that the antidote for trauma healing is safety. So look for safe spaces, look for safe people. You cannot heal in a space that keeps triggering you. You may need to look for a safe space outside the people that are triggering you for you to be able to heal, outside the situations that are triggering you for you to be able to heal. So if you find this information useful, as we always say, please share it with a friend, share it with a relative, anybody who you think would benefit from this information. If you haven't watched episode 1, 2, and 3, please make sure you look them out in the link section. And I will see you in episode 5 of trauma, as we further go deeper into ways in which we can support you to heal. And once again, this is your coach and therapist, Ruth Waithira of the Soul Clinic. It's always my pleasure to do this because I want to see you living your best life. I want to see you living holistically. I want to see you rising above the situations and circumstances that have been putting you down, and especially your thought patterns and your belief patterns. So see you in the next video.